fight on the beaches. We shall fight on the landing grounds. We shall fight in the fields and in the streets. We shall fight in the hills. We shall never surrender.
The constitutional point of view was critical for Jefferson's support of the Bill of Rights.
As we mourn the loss of thousands of our citizens, I can hear you!
Is time running out?
It's Saturday. Welcome to the Hayden Collins radio program. I am your host, Hayden Collins. And it's a good Saturday. It's summertime. In fact, this part of July, I actually go out and post winter photographs of the yard covered in snow and some other things for the kids to have fun with. Oh, no. And Christmas is just a few months away. I love doing that. Oh, my gosh. All right. So all the things that are going on out there, I decided to talk this week about sponsorships. And I'm taking this to an angle that is going to be outside of anything that you've heard in social media or anywhere else. Okay, so politics and sponsorships. I'm going to give you two examples. The 49ers guy, not even going to mention his name. The 49ers guy fixed it to where he doesn't have to work the rest of his life and he still has a Nike sponsorship. Because regardless of what happens, he's still got a Nike contract and he's influencing Nike on everything they do. Okay, so he still gets the money. But he's not playing football. He's not doing anything. He's just drawing the money. And Nike's using him as their social justice warrior. And as their social justice warrior, you know, he's all things social justice. So everybody's familiar with that one. Everybody's familiar with that one to the point where nobody wants to talk about it anymore. So he's only got Nike. It's not like he's got a whole bunch of other sponsors lined up. And if he did, they quietly pulled away, and they're obviously not sponsoring him. They didn't want anything to do with it. They backed away from it as quickly as possible. So let's go do this. The women's soccer team goes out and does an outstanding job. And then they politicize it. And they turn it into a political shamble, which lasts, I guess it was like 24, 48 hours of the news cycle. And it was done. The hurricane took over. Whatever politics is going on took over. And everything else just disappeared. It's not even in the news cycle anymore. But quietly, ever so quietly, the marketing trends have now been set. Now, I left a marketing meeting yesterday. And we're talking some pretty high-profile marketing groups, all of them consulting groups and so on and so forth. And one of the major discussions was using sports individuals as sponsors for sporting gear and so on and so forth. And all of the marketing groups are getting away from that and going towards, I don't know how to best describe this, like Chick-fil-A has a cow. The cow is not political. Okay? You're going to go pick on a cow. You know, every sports team has a mascot. You know, okay, well, they use the mascots. Okay, well, nobody's going to go pick on the mascot and actually make a political statement out of it because the mascot will get fired. Now, keep in mind, the whole NFL thing, I said when this whole thing started, I said the NFL is going to find a way to put it in their contract so this doesn't happen anymore. The owners got together and found a way to make sure it didn't happen anymore. Because they're in the entertainment business. And if you eliminate half of your audience, you eliminate half of your profits. Okay, that's the key thing. They're in business to make money. You don't want to eliminate your profits. You don't want to eliminate your money. So in this marketing thing that we're sitting there talking, they were talking about the biggest mistakes that these individuals have made was to politicize their sport. And then two of the individuals said, well, we were talking about how we're going to promote, what is it? We'll make up something, Randy sandwiches. Well, we're going to promote Randy sandwiches, but we're not going to use sports figures and we're not going to use a sport. And then they played a commercial, I guess it was Target, and this guy holding a basket full of balls at the end of the walkway, the shopping aisle, and the thing breaks loose and all the balls come out, and the female soccer player shows up and manages to get all the balls back in the basket, lickety split. And it was oh so cool. And they ran the ad with the possibility of extensions, and they decided not to offer the extensions anymore. They just ran the ads a few times and that was it. They didn't want to run it anymore because they didn't want the stigma of being connected to the politicalization of what happened. So it's not like they pulled ads. It's not like they said, oh, we're not going to, use the ads for these girls that, signed up anymore. They just didn't provide the extensions. They didn't go any further with it. They didn't expound upon it. They just, oh, thank you very much, have a nice day. And it's like they're quietly pulling ads. They're quietly pulling away from doing that. They're quietly pulling away from using sports teams or individuals to sponsor products because of the effect it has on the market. So quickly we would discuss this and say, okay, what happened here? Oh, well, they did a fantastic job. Looks like the best team ever, yada, yada, yada. And instead of celebrating the best team ever, they politicize it, and it's the sponsors who suffer. The guys who put forth all the money, the guys who sponsored the players to go do their thing, now all of a sudden are going to become political targets because of what the players are doing. And the players still get their money. So here's a projection for you. I think that each one of these sponsorship contracts in the future are going to have a clause in there that says if you attach our product or our company to anything political, or you politicize anything, not only do we not have to pay you, the contract's null and void, thank you, have a nice day. Because the entertainment value of you making that money, of you performing those sports acts, is what we're hiring. We're not hiring your political views. We're hiring you to play sports. Okay? And if you're going to be under the sponsorship contract for however long it is, and you attach yourself to something like that, you're out. Have a nice day. We have the option to cut you loose. And then essentially, the risk factor of sponsoring somebody in sports will go away because, hey, there it is. You guys need to catch on. Either you play the game the way we tell you to play it, and, you make the money we tell you how you make it because we're providing the money, or you don't. And that was the biggest thing I got out of this thing Friday. It's absolutely amazing how much money was lost. Now, understand, I'm not saying like there was $1 billion out there and somebody came and took half of it. Marketing, they do this based on how much money the potential to make was. So if you had, 35 advertisements set up, and each advertisement is supposed to create so much walking space and so much visibility and blah, 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 the return on your investment, yakety schmackety, and then all of a sudden we're not running those ads. So all the money they invested into those players, just they didn't get the return on their investment they wanted. So the next time they sponsor somebody, guess what? That's not going to hang. Now here's where they're going to get into trouble, and this is what was talked about in the meeting as well, is if you got a team of 40 players, they're not all sponsored by the same individual. So, if the quarterback is sponsored by Liberals R Us, and they want him to go out there and do crap like that, and the rest of the team is associated with it, they have a risk of losing their contracts and sponsorships and money. So they may put pressure on the quarterback not to do Liberals R Us. I don't know how that would happen. Market value, so on and so forth. I'm not even sure how it would play out. But there's going to be a demographic change and a paradigm shift in the sports industry if they want to make money. If they don't want to make money, I guess it doesn't matter. If they want to politicize it, they can politicize it. But, for a sport that needs popularity and has an entertainment value to sell tickets and make money, you would think they would be apolitical and avoid all of that. So we'll see where this goes. I have a sneaking feeling that just like the NFL, it took like a year or two to correct through unions and decisions and owners and so on and so forth, that since there are so many independent teams and so many independent sports, but the marketeers, and I say the marketeers, these are the guys that market the products, they looked at this and said, oh, no. It's either played like this or you don't play at all. And, it's not like these guys have unionized, but they're tired of being burned, and the risk factor is there. And these individuals that, are playing the sports are burning them. They're not making their bonuses. They're not making their earning potential because they left the entertainment industry and the sports industry to enter politics. So don't worry about, and I guess it's nobody's concern anyway, it's just been in the news so much lately. The soccer team did this or the soccer team did that. Who cares? They're only cutting their own throats and they're only taking money out of their own wallets. They've already performed. Great, they won the cup. Game over, what's next? Like I said, they only had their 48-hour window, and instead of doing something to be, sports-worthy and worthwhile to further their careers or to make more money, the grateful sacrifice was done. It didn't hurt them as much as it hurt the sponsors or the return on the investment. But when people quietly pull ads, and I don't mean like they pulled them off the air, they just didn't extend them, and then they disappear, that says a whole lot. And that sends a message to the industry, and it sends a message to the individuals that were involved, and there's the money gone. The other thing that came out of this that I thought is going to be pretty futuristic, besides the contract requirements, that you will perform to a standard, and if you don't perform to these standards, the next thing that came out of this was the option that marketeers have to stop payments, to actually default on payments to individuals who have violated their terms and agreements. Now you're saying, well, that sounds like what you just said the first time around, Hayden. These guys are not going to get paid and so on. No. There are parts of the contract that you have a stipend or expenses or, you work for Nike, so your car's taken care of from this point forward, whatever the case may be. They could yank that back as well and just destroy the entire contract, basically politically controlling the individual who plays sports. Because that's their vested interest to make money on. They're investing money in an individual to do certain things so they can make money. And that's the name of the game, making money. So look for this paradigm shift. Look for the money to shift hands. Look for the controls to come into place. And this will probably happen within the next year. I'd say before the next World Cup. I'd certainly say that on that side, because other teams that are being put together and teams that are coming together right now, practicing and so on and so forth, they're looking at this example and going, wow, that was 48 hours of nothing. You took a wonderful opportunity to make something, and you didn't make anything. I suppose that it'll be like the winning team of, 92. You remember that they won. I mean, years from now, they'll remember, oh yeah, that team won. Whatever. It was a nice political protest. You can turn on the news and see that any day of the week. Oh well. I was wanting to watch sports. Okay, let me get on to line item number 2 here. By the way, the Marketeers group, got to say thank you. Thank you for allowing me to be there. I love the speaking engagement. That was an opportunity that I did not foresee coming, but I greatly appreciate the question and answer session when it came to aspects of marketing and what we're doing with the universities. So just a thank you out there. Just want to throw it out there. All right. Oh boy, here we go. Let's dive into this one. This one's kind of an odd cookie for you. This is an odd note. Political platforms. Now, we usually dive into the presidential election stuff. We assign interns to each presidential candidate, and they follow that presidential candidate. And, if that candidate drops out, the name of the game is they've got to endorse another candidate. They've got to sponsor another candidate. And we did it with the Republicans when they had like 17 people running for president. We're doing it with the Democrats, okay? So we've got interns splitting up right now, selecting Democrats. And it's kind of funny. I mean, we have very few Democrat interns on the show. We have 3. So the independents, the Republicans, and the libertarians are all having to select Democrats to follow and comment on. And it's a brawl. Who's going to pick who? It's really hard for the conservative kids. But it's a good learning experience that they have the opportunity, so let's see what's on the other side of the aisle. So it's going to be a great learning experience. But here's what came out of that conversation. And here's a thought pattern for you. And as much as it's touted, it's actually good reason to be touted. Best economy, hands down, in the United States. In my lifetime. Kids coming out of college right now are going to have way better opportunities than I had in my lifetime. So let's go back a few years and President Obama saying these jobs are going away, they're not coming back. We got to get used to getting smaller. United States, blah, 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 blah. Into the world as we know it. All of a sudden, President Trump comes in and says, "No, you guys forgotten what America is all about. You forgot about the exceptionalism that we can create. We just got to cut business loose and then let it go." Sure enough, best economy, best unemployment rate. The ones that you hear that are hurting are in the blue states, and I'll use California as an example. I mean, good God, they're recommending people don't go to public restrooms and wash their hands for afraid of catching diseases from the homeless. No laughing matter, but think about the deterioration that's gotten to. That is a level of deterioration that you're just not going to see that. You shouldn't see that, especially in a metropolitan area, but apparently it's commonplace. And the reason it's commonplace is, policies and procedures that not necessarily mimic Detroit and what Detroit did, but it's fallen apart just like Detroit did. Who knows what the recovery is going to be? So imagine you are trying to build a platform to run for president of the United States on the Democratic side. And you have to present it that, this economy is terrible, that the unemployment rate is awful, especially after 8 years of Democratic control, where it really was awful. People were praying for jobs. I remember there were being prayer vigils for jobs. Okay. And, the gloom and doom of leadership in Washington, D.C. was it's the end of the world as we know it. And then now you have to say that gloom and doom was the right thing and that what we're doing right now is wrong. That's the platform you have to build. You have to, and here's, there's no better morale builder in the United States than a pocket full of money. There is no better morale builder in the United States than a pocket full of money. People have jobs. People are making money. One of my kids, I heard one of the presidential candidates was saying, "Oh, people have 2 and 3 jobs and it shouldn't be that way." I got a kid who wants 3 jobs because they're making money hand over fist, and some of these companies can't give them enough hours, so they went out and got other jobs to get more hours, to get more money. Yet he's made more money this summer than he made in the 2 previous summers. He's got 2 jobs, and of course he's not going to be working when he goes back to college, but he's made a ton of money over the summer doing these 2 and 3 jobs, that when he goes back to school, he's actually going to have a pretty decent semester. Actually, he's probably going to have a pretty decent year. Managed to pay off a car, bought a new computer for school on his own, didn't come to me for it. And that's because there's money to be made. And with his talents and skills, I mean, he was bringing $18 at one job, $15 at another job. He's rolling. So imagine you're trying to build a platform that says, hey, we don't want to give you that opportunity to succeed. We don't want to give you that opportunity to get ahead. And we certainly don't want to give you the opportunity to have more than one job. We're Democrats, hear us roar. You have to build a platform to separate individuals who want to succeed and individuals who don't. And that political platform is what you have to put together to say that everything that is going on right now is wrong and that somehow you can make it better. Even though your party had 8 years to make it better, and with the leadership that they had told us everything was going to be worse and was preaching to us how worse it was going to be. And you have to build a platform for the presidency. Maybe they should go into sports. Maybe they should start talking about sports instead of politics. They might get more votes. All right, presidential election coming up. Politics and sports, entertainment industry and money and marketeering. Good start for today. The Twins are showing up with Oops, I Arted here shortly. Rotate them through the call. And then we have live roundtable. Oh, we're going to start putting roundtables back on the air soon. We're probably going to start that before Christmas or fall semester. But we'll be putting roundtables back on the air. All right, we'll see you after the break again, the Hayden Collins radio program. Let's enjoy our Saturday.